When the darkness fills the night, swallowing up the sun inside, why does daylight always dim? Creeping dusk, so cold and grim. 'Tis the blackness of the night teaches us how to see the light. Hello everyone, my name is Verena Y-7 and I am 12 years old. As a librarian, I've encountered a lot of Indonesia's fairy tales, but one of them excites me the most. This one comes from Central Java, and the name of this story is Timun Mas. Let me tell you the story. Once upon a time, in a mystical island named Java, there lived a lonely widow named Bo Srini. Bo Srini was a kind woman, and she was desperate to have a child of her own. Because of this, she prayed to a monstrous ogre named Buto Ijo. Buto Ijo was a monstrous ogre, and he was known to occasionally grant wishes to people who needed them. Because of this, Bo Srini pleaded and begged to the ogre in order for her to be granted a child of her own. Eventually, the ogre agreed to fulfill this promise, but with one terrible condition. When the child turned 6 years old, the child must be given back to the ogre to become his meal. Despite the condition, the lonely widow agreed to fulfill this promise. The ogre then gave the woman cucumber seeds to be planted in her farm. Bo Srini quickly rushed back to her farm and planted the cucumber seeds. And in 2 weeks' time, the cucumbers grew and bore fruit. One of them was large and emitted a golden gleam of light. Carefully, Bo Srini split it open, and inside there was a beautiful baby girl. Filled with happiness, she decided to name her child Timun Mas. Ta lelo 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 ledung cap menengo ojo pijer nangis. And in few years' time, the bond between the both of them grew, making the thought of losing the child too much to bear. Desperate for help, she journeyed across Gunung Kidul, the southern mountains, to seek help from a powerful hermit. The hermit then gave her 4 small bags of pouches and instructed her to give them to Timun Mas as defense against the terrible ogre. The day finally arrived when the ogre was eager for her to fulfill the promise. "Where is my meal?" the ogre shouted. Timun Mas went running towards the forest. Knowing this, the ogre immediately chased after her. And for hours, the chase continued, and Buto Ijo steady, getting closer. They ran and ran until Timun Mas threw the first bag, filled with cucumber seeds. Vines of cucumber magically sprang from the earth, blocking the ogre's path. The ogre, enticed by the fruit, stopped on his tracks to gorge on them. It wasn't long after he ate them all and resumed his chase. They kept on running and running until Timun Mas hurled the second bag, filled with needles. The dense forest filled with shacks of bamboo trees appeared where the needles had fallen, trapping Buto Ijo. Buto Ijo went straight to the forest, wounded and enraged. They ran and ran until Timun Mas hurled the third bag, filled with salt. An embracing yet powerful torrent to seek swept the ogre off his feet. This time, the ogre wanted more than ever to catch the little girl who had troubled him. They continued running, and when Timun Mas had nowhere left to run, stuck in a dead end, she held the last of the hermit's gift. Hopeless, she threw it as hard as she could at the monster. The bag contained spices that transformed into a boiling sea of mud, burning the ogre's skin. The ogre shrieked and howled in pain. And then all was silent. Timun Mas realized that she had stopped the ogre once and for all. Returning home, she embraced her mother with open arms, and the both of them lived out the rest of their days, happy and in peace. My dear friends, the moral of the story is to be brave and courageous like Timun Mas, and to always fight for the ones that you truly love, just like Srini did. Thank you, all of my friends, for listening to the story, and I hope all of you have a pleasant day.
Okay, that